Happy Mother's Day to all of you here in America. For those around the world who are not celebrating Mother's Day today, we extend that salutation and felicitation to each and every one of you as well. We are here today to honor divine mothers, cosmic mothers, as well as earthly mothers and their companions, the fathers who help them in their mission. For just a few moments, I thought we would touch upon one of the absolute paramount and most sacred of all of the opportunities that are available to those of you who are aspiring to motherhood, are presently mothers, or wish to be acting as a God parent, a God mother, or God father to other children who are striving to come into this world. For you who are physically present, and I'm going to ask as well that the camera include in its shot the portrait of the I Am Presence, particularly the lower figures of the outer self that are shown there, as well as the surrounding radiance of that part of our selfhood which we call the Christ presence. It is with an eye to how this Christ may be born into the world, how it may come forth in its innocence and its purity, and symbolically in its birth, very much in one sense like a little lamb, very much in need of protection, guardianship, and all forms of nurturing. For the Christ to be born in this world requires that there be the proper nurturing environment that is available to that Christ child or that Christ flame in its infancy, in its formative stages. It is far from being the adult and mature Christ that is able to fend for itself, to protect not only itself, but to be a succor and a protection to other parts of life. So it is to that formative stage that we speak for just a few moments, and the role, the opportunity that is available to would-be mothers and fathers of the Christ child, including the Christ child of their own heart. In order for that Christ to come forth, there must be profound levels of harmony and purity in the intermediate folds of each person's consciousness. What the world hardly recognizes as levels of vibration of thought, vibration of feeling, hardly has a conception that there is such a thing in reality as harmony, wholesomeness, a sense of protectedness, a sense of well-being, a sense of hope and optimism and prosperity. All of these need to be present if this formative flame of the Christ is to lay hold and to actually achieve the victories that are possible for it in a given embodiment. There's no greater praise that could be sung to the mothers of earth than to rehearse the orchestration of the coming forth of a fully formed, mature Christ in the example that was set by beloved Jesus. Those of you who are students of the Ascended Masters of long standing will recall the exquisite care and planning and selection that went into orchestrating a great drama of the assigning of the role of father and mother to this Christ child. Even the birth of his mother is recorded in the scriptures. Her early years and her protection and her preparation for that mission. This should tell every single one of us as Ascended Master students a great deal about what it takes to demonstrate the full attainment and mastery of the Christ. For even one not possessed of their own any vestiges of human karma to be balanced, one having lived lifetime after lifetime, demonstrating the great powers of God in previous embodiments, still it was by no means left to chance who would be the birth parents of this child. This is because the goal in mind was the full realization of the Christ, and of course, as you know, the reunion of the son or daughter of God, firstborn, with the God identity of that which we now know as the I Am Presence. Part of the great service that was rendered by beloved Mary and beloved Joseph was to ensure that while the feeling world of the infant babe in the manger was still very, very much formative and sensitive, and in a sense, defenseless, while that formative mind and body all were very, very tender and going to automatically absorb the goings-on around them. There was a very premeditated and resolute determination on Mary's part, on Joseph's part, that they would surround their humble home with a degree of harmony, with what they already had attained to within themselves, which we now have come to understand as a charged force field that is charged with light and fire, with a vibration of a consciousness of perfection, of an intensity and a purity that is out of this world. It is not of this world. It is not otherworldly in the sense of being strange, but it is heavenly. It is a proper angelic atmosphere where not only can the outer consciousness go through the usual gestation and maturation of the physical body and of the thoughts and feelings, but also where this tender lamb of the Christ flame, so delicate, so exquisitely sensitive, can, in a protected and a safe environment, begin to build in those earliest years, to unfurl the heart, what we now know was the gold and pink and blue glorious plumes of the Christ flame. And more, as it is shown in our portrait, more and more for this higher state of one's very own self-awareness to actually merge with the four outer aspects of expression, commonly known as the four lower bodies, memory of the mind body, of the feelings, and of the physical body. In order for this marriage to take place, interestingly enough, there must be a sense of relaxation, a sense of well-being, a sunshine, cheerful sense, a sense of destiny calling, of great promise, of optimism, of all things good, and really of no sense of oppression, depression, of a poverty consciousness, a sense of illness, the things that so often get jumbled up and confused into an amalgamation of what is considered to be life here below. This is the charge which we have accepted for our ascended master activity, that we shall be a temple in which may live the Most High living presence of God in the closeness of this Christ and in the connectedness with the presence, the mighty I Am presence. And so whether you are here as a part of the activities of Moria House, or whether you are part of an altar of the Temple of the Presence, or a temple of the temple, when you enter into the upper room where our decrees are conducted, where our services are conducted, where we break bread with one another in fellowship and rejoicing, that you are breaking bread with kindred spirits who have charted the course of their life to the same perfection that you yourself have elected. You have every right to expect that within the boundaries of our assembly, that the ascended master's way of living life will be practiced here. Many of you have read and studied about the physical retreats of the ascended masters. You have some idea of how your world would feel if you entered into one of those retreats. And by your world, I mean your own feelings and your own minds, coming out of a need to earn a living, coming out of the large cities of the world, coming out of places of great strife and discord and unrest far and wide across the face of the world. Inevitably, your feelings, your mind, hammered by that night and day, take on more of that than you would ever suspect. But you would find that there was no place for such vibrations, such levels of consciousness in the retreats. Nor would you find within the precincts of the retreats that you would need to keep your defense mechanisms in place, that you would have to brace yourself for the next round of someone saying something about you, someone criticizing the cut of your jib, having something judgmental to say about you. Quite the contrary, you would breathe an immense sigh of relief. You would say, in this retreat, in this vibration, I am home. And almost without any effort, you would find that the folds of the garments of your own Christ self, your own God self, would exude through your feelings and through your every thought. And you would blossom into more than a human being. You would begin to exhibit more and more of the qualities of your own Christ presence and I am presence. And this is as it should be. We have visitors here this week who have come from halfway around the world, who have been here on many occasions before, and have expressed their profound appreciation to enter Moria House and to sit here alone with just one or two other people and to just soak in the charged atmosphere of divine radiation that has been anchored here by the Ascended Masters in cooperation with their unascended disciples. This is, and by that, the temple of the presence, this activity is an activity that has resolved to precipitate the Ascended Master way of life as it is lived at present within the retreats of the Ascended Masters, as well as it is lived in the Ascended Master octaves, to practice that to its literal fullness here in this world of form. We have taken that stand so that each and every one of you may dare to have the faith, to believe in the full realization of your Christ identity, of your ascension in the light coming forth. Because there are those here who champion that cause on your behalf, who afford you that protection, who, as a mother or a father, have the ability to hold conscious a connection with the Akashic records of the future, which are so real and tangible. One record in particular, which exhibits you in the ascended state as the God-free being, charged with ascended master light, a being of cause only, a being who is now master of your own destiny and able to turn and render a similar service to the unascended mankind of earth. it does require a certain discipline of the four lower bodies, both individually and collectively, to insist upon harmony, to insist upon purity, to insist that there can be no peaceful coexistence between mortal states of consciousness and the divine, but rather that the mortal states must be exorcised from the domicile of your own four lower bodies, from the domicile of your own place where you sleep, where you work, where you play, so that more and more your entire life experience becomes a perfect expression of the ascended master way of life. The ascended masters have seen time and time again that where there is a protected area, a protected force field, and the encouragement can be given, and the heart runs to embrace the disciplines of the path, that indeed this absolute miracle of transformation occurs, whereby the Christ child steps forth and does not remain an innocent, vulnerable infant, but swiftly rises up in the full conscious cosmic Christ commanding presence, and is not only able to provide for itself through the drawing forth of the light of its own presence, but is able to become a pillar of strength, a doorway of opening for the outpouring from the presence and the ascended masters to bless the world. May your heart leap in joyous anticipation that this path, far from being imaginary, is God reality. And as the ascended masters continue to hold open the doorway in vibration and consciousness to their own realm, and as you continue to open the outpouring of limitless power and light and intelligence and contact with yourself, as you are operating consciously in these limitless vehicles of your own electronic bodies, that the application of that intensity of the light of your own electronic body, applied relentlessly, by that meaning in an uninterrupted fashion, by that meaning uninterrupted by a tremolo of discord in the feelings, of any vibration of feeling that is less than harmony or purity, any thought that is less than perfection. This discipline, reinforced by the inner pressure of the individual God identity, sustained as the ascended master way of life throughout the remainder of your life, will culminate in the victory of the ascension and collectively the victory of the golden age. It is a triggering of your free will, whereby you recognize that your personal space, the area that affects your feelings, your mind, your memory, your physical body, This is supremely yours to subjugate and to rule. It is an area circumscribed by that action of your selfhood known as the electronic circle. And within that, you are a king or a queen of your own realm. And if you decree and insist with resolute determination and acknowledgement that the full outpouring of your electronic body shall be in evidence throughout the full expression of your outer world, that will mark for you the beginning of the ascended master way of life. Something you won't have to do on your own because of those cosmic mothers and fathers who gaze even now upon the face of your own mighty I Am presence, who read the Akashic record of your own ascended status, and who are so lovingly desirous and capable, ready, willing, and able to fly to your side in answer to your every call and to nurture your progress as you elect to birth that Christ child to maturity within your own life stream. What a glorious mission for the Temple of the Presence and for its company of torchbearers to uphold this mission on behalf of every precious heart flame throughout the length and breadth of the world.